Nikolai and Stacey with you for breakfast. Also with you now, Andrew Kay, the CEO of Business SA. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Stacey.
So I guess tomorrow for some people is a choice. They can choose to take the 26th of January off, or they can choose to have a different day. How do you know if you're one of those people that gets the choice?
Yeah, it's a good question. Look, a public holiday, whether it's been designated by the federal government or the state government, is there is the conversation that can be had. It's not actually a right or entitlement to ask for that day off, but and for that reason, an employer could actually reasonably refuse the request. But it's really about a negotiation between the employee and the employer, and it'll be affected differently depending whether you're under an award or some enterprise agreement.
Okay, so we've seen some very large companies announce that they're going to give their employees the choice, but it could go both ways. It doesn't have to be the company deciding and telling the employees. The employee could individually say, I don't really want to work. I do want to work. Can I swap it? And you could do it on an individual kind of almost an ad hoc basis.
They could do that. Look, we've seen media coverage leading up to Australia Day this year where we're hearing more about that potentially being the case. I guess we won't really know until after the event how much it's actually transpired, but they can do that. It's just important that it's a two-way dialogue between the employer and the employee, because there are obviously rights and entitlements with public holidays. So, for example, you might be on an award that entitles you to penalty rates of 2.5 times, for example. You want to make sure that if you are working on the day, that it's understood whether you'd be paid those rates at that time or not.
And does an employer have to agree if someone goes to their boss and says, you know what, I don't want to have the day off, I'd like to work on January 26th, can I have another day off in lieu? Do they have to say yes?
They don't have to, Stacey. I mean, they can reasonably refuse it. I think what we're seeing in the workplace these days is there's a lot more flexibility around when people work and working from home and various conditions. So we hope that they'd be able to come to an agreement there, but certainly there might be a business operation where it just simply didn't suit to come in and work on that day, and for that reason the employer could reasonably refuse that request, because it is a specified public holiday either by the federal government in this case or the state government.
Does feel like, I mean, we've been talking for many, many years. Some people think that the date should change. Australia Day on the 26th of January should be moved to another day. Others are calling it Invasion Day and a day of mourning. Are you getting the general vibe? What's the vibe, Andrew Kay, CEO of Business SA? Are you getting the general vibe that the attitude is shifting towards changing, or is it still pretty even?
It seems the conversation gets louder every year. Look, I heard some survey results yesterday that said the numbers haven't moved greatly between surveys this year and last year as to whether the day should change, but it's very much a generational thing. It seems to be under 35s are for a shift and over 35s aren't. Given under 35s are the future, you'd have to say that the power may be with them in the years ahead.
Now, this year, Australia Day does fall on a Thursday. It obviously changes year to year. Are there concerns that, a whole lot of people on Friday will be ringing up their bosses and saying, I've got a bit of a sniffle this morning, I probably shouldn't come in?
Look, I can certainly tell you from our own example, there are plenty of people who've requested that day off. And I think what you might see here too is around shifting this day for some people. Sometimes when public holidays fall on a Thursday, businesses, particularly in manufacturing, do negotiate with their team, because it's not ideal for them to be shutting down on a Thursday and cranking up again on the Friday. They'll actually negotiate to say, look, why don't we all have a long weekend, take the Friday and Saturday and Sunday. So that's not uncommon. It's been done in the past. But we'd encourage, obviously, employees to talk to their staff about making sure if they are planning on having the Friday off, that it is an annual leave day and they get their notification in.
Okay. Andrew Kay, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
The CEO of Business SA. It's 7:45 on ABC Radio Adelaide.